All right. Hopefully this is working. We'll see how this goes. So, those of you over on the Overwhelming Victory Networks that don't know who uh, I am Andrew Fouts. I work within the resources and do all the podcast stuff. Um, and I have do all the Mr. Misfit stuff also. So you should have some idea who I am. But we are starting this thing that we started over on Misfits a while back, where I'm doing some outdoor stuff. Oh, there's a huge spider on you, by the way. Hang on. Okay, got you away. Um, where I do some outdoors activities, like kayaking and fishing, occasional hiking, things like that. Um, and we talk about different ministry or theology type stuff, um, dealing with just some fun things like that. So we are going to be once a month going live over with you guys. If you want to stay updated on everything else, you can follow specifically the Misfits Outdoors stuff on TikTok and on Twitch, where we are live at the moment also. Um, and you'll be able to stay updated with all that good stuff. But today, we're going to test out how it's going and see how everybody is over in the OV world. You guys can comment. I check the comment sections every once in a while. It'll be a little bit easier once I'm actually able to get the kayak out. But you guys are able to leave comments, let me know how it's going. Let me know what you guys think, any questions, things like that, whatever it might be. Today we're going to try here in a little bit. I'm going to try to get things reset fishing wise first, because we've been having some issues this morning. We weren't even planning on being out. There was a schedule change with my daughter that allowed us to do this today instead of on Wednesday or Thursday. So we're doing it today, which also means I didn't have as much prep time, but you know, we do what we can regardless. So with that being said, we are going to be talking about different things related to a new blog series that we're working on within the Misfits stuff, talking about community. Anybody that's been a part of any Misfit stuff or seen any of it or anything on our other network with KFM, with the KFM Broadcasting Network, knows that community is something we talk about a lot. It gets brought up a lot, and there's a good reason for that, because realistically, community is one of the biggest pieces of really the gospel message that doesn't get talked about. And it's also a major thing that we know within Western Christianity specifically that just gets ignored a lot. And there's quite a few reasons why that is the case. And we are going to get into a lot of those in the actual blog series. We're just going to kind of talk through a little bit and see if anybody wants to chime in at all. I think I might have somebody here. We got bites. Come on. There we go. Those over on TikTok know I've been trying over in this spot for about the past 20 minutes, and we keep getting a lot of bites, but he won't actually commit to anything. There's a not dead tree, but a fallen tree a little bit over the water here. So I don't know if it's bass or not. Typically under those trees it's bass. But like we were saying, community. there's a lot of reasons why it doesn't get talked about. A lot of it is stuff that we deal with over on Misfits all the time. Things like Cold War theology stuff. Um, it, but it recently has started to come back in a way that's a little bit different, where it's not that it is no longer accepted or wanted, but it is now being uh, misunderstood, misused to promote other harmful ideologies and things like that. And so that's why we want to actually talk about what it's supposed to look like and what it is, why it matters, and all of that. So the big thing with community, because there's part of the reason we have all these misunderstandings and everything else, is that there's actually quite a few different definitions for it, but all of them have to do with commonality. So it's groups of people that come together over some kind of commonality, whether it's a demographic thing, whether it's an experience, genetics, location, hobbies, whatever it might be. There are different types of communities that they all have something in common. And so that's why they all group together. It gets a little bit different when we talk about biblical communities, because we end up with a whole different level of stuff that we talk about. So within sports ministry, we talk a lot about community outreach and making sure that we're there for the community and we're providing quality athletics and things like that for our churches and for our communities. But then we also start talking about things with the local church as far as being a community. We talk about things like our neighborhood communities. We talk like the word gets thrown around a lot, but we don't really ever actually take time to realize why it matters. And so we're gonna give a brief overview of stuff today. And like I said, we're gonna be hitting this stuff really hard. Oh, huge bass that just jumped, but it is way too far for me to be able to hit out there. I think TikTok might have seen it. I'm not sure. We'll have to check the tape later. But we're going to try to hit some of the bigger pieces here as far as why it matters. And then, like I said, those of you watching on Facebook or on any of our YouTube channels, whether it's OV or Misfits Outdoors, whatever it might be, feel free to chime in. Let me know that you're here. Let me know what you think. We're going to do what we can today and see how this goes. So, like I said, we're also live over, those of you that are watching right now, over on Facebook or YouTube or any of the OV channels. Those of you that have TikTok accounts, if you could also do me a favor at some point and go follow us over on TikTok. We're close to having that channel actually monetized, which will be very helpful, very good to do. So, like we were saying, we're talking community. And we want to talk about it because of the fact that it gets misunderstood, and it's largely misunderstood because there are so many different definitions for it. Oh, hang on. It left. We had something for a second there. But the big thing with it is that we want to make sure we understand it biblically first and foremost. And so the reason why we push the community aspect so much is because realistically our argument is that it's a gospel issue. And why we say that is because when we actually understand the Old Testament specifically, what sin actually was and why it was a big deal and what the whole sacrificial system and everything was about, we realize how much community matters to God. So those of you that are familiar with the other Misfits stuff or any of the KFM stuff, we talked about this when we were in the book of Leviticus over on Kingdom on the Road, which is the Friday morning live stream. We talked a lot about this with Joe and Ant. But in the Old Testament, everybody knows about the whole thing with the law, the sacrificial systems, all that kind of stuff. And typically, we talk about it in terms of this is the law, and so if you break the law, there's punishment and all that kind of stuff, and that's just kind of how we leave it. But what we found when we were going through it in the Kingdom on the Road style, and taking a moment to step back and look at how the rabbinic text talks about the law and the sacrificial systems and everything else, is where we suddenly find that it's not actually about the sin, it's about the effects it had on the community. The sins that were listed within the Old Testament, the majority of them were ones that were going to cause harm within the communities. It wasn't about personal things. It wasn't about anything like that. It was all about the fact that they were going to bring about harm to the community. So the ideas of running after false gods was going to bring harm to the community because it was going to bring about things that was not healthy for the community, wasn't good. The food laws were all about keeping people healthy, keeping the community safe. The dietary restrictions, the grooming laws, the laws about clothes, all of it was about keeping the community safe. And when we actually look at even the way that Leviticus talks about the sacrificial system, it still is all about the community at large, because everybody, when it's talking through how to give sacrifices and how to prepare sacrifices and all this stuff, it strips everybody of their status. Everyone that is having to provide a sacrifice, whether it's a priest, whether it's a peasant, whether it's a king, no matter who it is, it gives everybody the same title as offerer. If you are the one that is having to offer sacrifice, you are the one that is listed as being the offerer of the sacrifice. And it was done in the presence of the community. And it was done in the presence of the community because the community was the one that had to know that you were safe to be able to come back. You know, are you going to bring in disease? Are you going to bring in other kind of harmful things? Are you going to be able to rejoin the community and be a part of what God has for us in that capacity once again? That's not how we talk about sin now. We talk about sin now specifically just as it's personal stuff. It's all things that I struggle with, and it's all about me and my relationship with God and everything else. And that's not how Scripture talks about sin, because everything related to it is dealing with the effects it has on other people, not the effects it has on me. We don't look at sin that way. We like to look at sin as it's just a personal thing. Faith is all just a personal thing. There's no talks of how it affects other people. And because of this, it allows us to lose sight of why we actually do any of this stuff that we're doing, whether it's the sports ministry stuff, whether it's just basic ministry stuff, whether it's just basic being a Christian stuff, Christian lifestyle stuff, whatever it might be. When we lose sight of the fact that it's all about the community at large, we lose sight of the gospel. And so we've got to start getting this stuff right again. And so we're going to be covering a lot of it over the next couple of weeks, possibly months, as I find time to write. We're going to be walking through all this stuff. So we're going to look at some of the history behind the word. We're going to look at the history biblically behind the word. We're going to be looking at the way that it's talked about within the rabbinic text. We're going to look at the way it's talked about from the church fathers. We're going to be looking at the way that culture has affected how we view it. We're going to be looking at all that stuff over the next few weeks or months or however long it takes, and hopefully get a better sense of what it is and why it matters. Because unfortunately what we see is that this idea of community also gets twisted from being an important thing because of the fact that this is what God has called us to, into an important thing because of what the community is and who the community represents. And this has two different places that shows up. One of those being the way we talk about church. TikTok, you guys especially might appreciate this a little bit more because I've seen it a lot on a couple of different TikToks and things like that, of where the Sunday morning service, really it becomes somewhat of an idol because it's about being a part of the community at large, saying that if you are not here, then you are not holy, you are not saved, you are not being filled, you're not doing, you can't be, God's not going to be able to use you, all that kind of stuff. That's not a good picture of what the community is about. The community is supposed to be there to encourage and fill each other up. It's not about the service. It's about the being together, the fellowshipping and all that. The flip side of that, though, you got people that will go the other route and say that it's about the label that you carry. Being a Christian is all that matters, and so if you're not a Christian, then you don't deserve the help, or you don't deserve my respect, you don't deserve, simply because of the fact that you don't call yourself a Christian is enough reason for me to say that I don't need to care about you, I don't need to worry about you, I don't need to do any of that kind of stuff. All of those are a problem. That's not what Scripture talks about, and that actually goes against what the very aspect of community is that we actually are going to talk about in these blogs and things like that. So stay tuned for all that. Same thing, it's also an issue with the thing we talk about a lot within Misfits with the Christian nationalist movement, the Kennist movement, any kind of white supremacy movement of where your skin color or the creed that you carry becomes the most important aspect of a community. And so if you're not a part of that community, then you're an enemy of the community, all that kind of stuff that we're going to go over, like I said, over however many weeks it's going to take us to do all of this. So make sure you guys are following us on all of our different channels, things like that, because we're going to be talking about it a lot. The blogs you can find, for sure you'll be able to find them on the Misfits website, which we do have a new website that's coming. It's still going to be ministrymisfits.com. It's just going to look a little bit different. Hopefully be a little bit easier for people to navigate and find some different stuff on. It might be gotta talk to Dr. Linville, so you might be able to find it on the Overwhelming Victory blog once they're out. And you'll probably be able to find at least a good portion of them on the KFM blog also, which is at kfmbroadcasting.com. Those of you watching on any of the CSRM or Overwhelming Victory channels, you guys can also be on the lookout because we are hopefully going to be having new websites for CSRM and Overwhelming Victory here in the coming months, weeks, months, whatever, depending on how long it's going to take me to do. So we got to get one before the end of the day here. We've been getting a lot of bites. Also, those of you that are interested, it is about to be birthday month for Misfits. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, every June we go into birthday month mode because my birthday's in June. Brandon Simmons' birthday is in June. And so it made sense to just make June birthday month. So in the past, we have just made Patreon challenges for birthday month. This year, though, we're doing it a little bit differently. So we have, I forgot to add the link onto the channel there, but we have an Amazon wish list full of stuff of different variety and prices and things like that, that are supplies for us to be able to do this kind of stuff. So some of it is fishing supplies, some of it is actual like in studio supplies that we need to upgrade because it's been a while and our microphones are dying, things like that. So if you want more information about that, if you go to the Misfits Facebook page, you should be able to find the information there because I believe we posted it this morning, with a couple other announcement videos that we did. We also, those of you over on TikTok, we just like last night actually finalized getting together the subscription packages and things like that for TikTok. We're hoping to be able to get TikTok monetized here soon. A lot of the other Misfits channels already have some monetization stuff, except for the TikTok. Oh, you guys are falling into the water, aren't you? Hold that thought. There we go. That's a little better. And you guys have a warning message on your screen. There we go. Like I said, we just started up the subscription packages to help us be able to monetize over on TikTok with the outdoor stuff, which will allow us to do this stuff a little bit more often. We also just got the kayak out yesterday, and made sure that it's working and all that good stuff. And so we're hoping this summer to have more regularly scheduled stuff, and specifically regular scheduled days where we'll be out in the kayak, fishing from the kayak and streaming from the water and things like that. So make sure you're following, subscribing, all those different places. So I debated about moving spots about an hour ago and decided not to. That wasn't worth my time, but maybe I should have, because all we're getting here are big bites and no fish. So we'll see if we get anything before the end of the streams here. They said we know the fish are down here because we're getting bites big time. We just saw a huge bass jump a little bit ago also. It's just nothing that is wanting anything that I'm offering at the moment. Oh, we just wrapped around another tree. We were able to get out. Goodness. And that one took the worm off. All right, we'll put a new worm on our foot. So, what time is it even? I don't even know. time is here? 12:34. All right. We got about 20 more minutes here before we gotta start packing up. We are definitely not going to get through all of our worms. That's okay. Oh, I think we got some bites. Maybe not. Maybe. So the first cast of the day, we had a little yellow perch that as we were pulling it out of the water, it unlatched itself and got away. And since then, all we've gotten are big bites and nothing else. Now, a month from now, this area over here is going to be full of bluegill that are hungry. But apparently not yet. Nope. We got somebody swimming towards it. I gotta find time to get my eye appointment done so I can get contacts again. Because if I had this water is super clear, but the glare is really bad, and so I probably could actually see where the fish are even sitting and sight fish right here if I had sunglasses on to deal with the glare. But see if we get anybody over on this side. It's trying, whatever it is. See if he'll take it one more time. I had it under the water, but my line was too loose. Set the hook. That's I was hoping to use a different rod than this one for today, but I was not able to get it set up right. And then my other rod we lost in the tree and had to cut the line, and I realized I left my box of hooks and stuff in the truck, so it's just having to sit there for now. We're gonna try again and see if we can get another bite off of this. So, I mean, we know they're out there. They're just very being very delicate with their attempts to get the bait. We'll see how this all goes here. Welcome in, welcome in. Those of you over on TikTok, we haven't forgot about you. I'll get some more bites. We are stuck on the platform here. What are we stuck on? We stuck under the platform? There we go. We were stuck underneath the platform that I'm standing on. This thing is super rickety and not stable at all. And apparently I had pulled it up so much that the line got stuck underneath it. Oh, we got bites. Ah, it took the worm off. All right, so those of you over here on Facebook, I'm gonna have to call it a day with you guys because it looks like my battery on this phone is about to die really fast for some reason. So again, go ahead, go follow us on our other channels, whether that's TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. Not Facebook. I don't know why I said Facebook. The outdoors stuff, we've got a TikTok, an Instagram, a YouTube channel up for it. You can always also follow all the Misfits stuff to get that. Like I said, be on the lookout for the there it goes, new blogs we got coming out soon, dealing with the community stuff and dealing with all these things we were talking about. And we'll catch you all next time. Hope I may be actually in the kayak next time, hopefully sometime this week. And if I am, I will go live on Overwhelming Victory for a little bit, just